sense to me, but I want to see how these new receivers started. I mean, think about this. I know 2020 has been weird, and it feels like it's been like a decade already, but the Antonio Brown stuff was just a year ago. Like, it really has only been a year since Antonio Brown sort of blew up and went away. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on. On the Carolina side, look, I don't think there's any surprises coming there, right? You mentioned McCaffrey. I think DJ Moore is going to have a really good year. There's nothing that I think is going to really surprise, unless Robbie Anderson somehow steps in and has a huge year there in Carolina. I don't know if there's anything distinct that's really going to blow you away.
Jimmy went on that 5-game.
I'm gonna actually say one thing that's impressive, that you somehow every single time we've said it, like, you somehow bring it back to Jimmy Garoppolo and the NFC West.
That is impressive. That is pretty impressive.
You somehow managed to bring everything back.
Brady can't even hold the candle to his former backup Jimmy. By the way, I didn't bring him up there, but
they didn't sign anybody. I thought maybe Devontae Freeman would get a look there in Philadelphia. That didn't happen. And then a few weeks ago, Peterson says, look, Miles Sanders is our guy.
NFL football's tomorrow. Let's fucking go.
Let's go.
Yeah, okay. Don't say Odell likes getting shit on.
Wait, are you gonna do that one?
Oh, that's mine.
We've already exhausted that.
Aaron, do it, please.
We've already exhausted that.
Wait, this is the sequel. This is the sequel. It's not.
Everybody, like every sports network has discussed that. Pat McAfee got it. Everybody's got it. It's not even like an underrated thing anymore. Like, I don't want to discuss that, dude. That
Phoenix Suns one was more.
That just grosses me out like immensely.
Well, I actually thought that was kind of hard.
All right, we won't do it.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Let's put that at the start of the episode. All right, guys. Welcome to the Muffed Podcast here. I'm Aaron. This is with Boaz and Lemeter today. I've just taken over the intro because hopefully Boaz can't cut anything out and he has to go with this. So how you guys doing?
I'll keep this one in. I'm doing good, Aaron. I like this. I like that we're switching it up. You're doing my job this time. I like that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Aaron is a good person to do the intros. He has solid intros, in my opinion.
Thank you. Okay. I really appreciate that. I went to intro school for 2 years. Got an undergrad. I fucked it up. I didn't mean to say it. Fuck. Nice. I fucked it up.
No, that's fine. It's fine. Well, I'll cut it out. Try it again.
Oh, thank you. All right. I got
interview intro school. Yeah. Start off like that.
I graduated summa cum laude from intro school. I'm not to brag or anything. 4-year degree.
Were you a valedictorian at your intro school?
Yeah, I was actually.
That's what I thought. Yeah. I mean, Aaron, I don't know how I can top that, to be honest. I feel like you might be taking over from now on, but you know what I got that you can't do. Let's get it right into it. You and Lemeter. We've been doing this every week now. Highlights of the week. Lemeter's favorite, we talked about the Phoenix Suns girl. Lemeter's just, honestly, his favorite segment of the week. Lemeter, you want to start off? What are some highlights that you got?
The Indian Premier League starts in just kidding. No, actually, that is a highlight, but that's for next week. We're going to save it. This week's highlight.
Shout out to IPL. I just beat you to it.
IPL, thank you. This week's highlight is I drafted all my fantasy teams, and they're looking mighty good.
Dude, that's Lemeter. Actually, that's perfect. Might be some foreshadowing to something later in the episode. Maybe some sort of interview. I don't know.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. All right, Aaron, you go ahead.
Wait, did you guys schedule the interview without me again?
Oh no,
that's kind of fucked up.
I thought you
were there.
Wait, no, you were there.
Wait,
no, you were there.
No, you guys.
Lemeter, no. I rember we were saying fuck Aaron.
I guess you'll just have to wait and find out if Aaron was there. All right, next.
No, I think that's when we were saying fuck Aaron. We don't want him ever. He's so shitty.
All right, anyways, my highlight of the week.
Yeah.
Is so far the 4-game series. Doesn't work. Anyways, so the A's have taken 3 out of the 4 games so far against the Houston Trastros. So I just want that to be known.
I am a low-key on the down low Astros fan because
Well, you're a down low Astros fan? Did you say that?
No, I don't hate them as much as other people do. They're my least favorite team.
What?
But just because my boy Dante Pettis.
All right, Aaron. Next week's interview. Lemeter's link is gonna be like, oops, Lemeter. I think it might have went to your spam folder. I don't know how that works. I don't even know if it's a text message spam folder, but I don't know. I guess it didn't. Sprint just didn't send it to you. That's all. What can I say? Yeah, Aaron, go ahead.
So there was a doubleheader yesterday. It was the A's first doubleheader because obviously Daniel Megan, the A's pitcher, came down with coronavirus. By the way, I'm pretty sure he's an anti-mask guy. That's besides the point. he's not one of our main pitchers.
But
of course, the reason there is a doubleheader is because earlier the Astros and the A's decided to not play. I think this is after the shooting of Jacob Blake. That was a victim of police brutality, which, by the way, is the only classy thing the Astros have ever done in their since 2017. Just want to throw that out there. So, yeah, and the A's have taken 3 out of the 4 games so far, and I guarantee a victory tomorrow night. I'm guaranteeing it right now.
This is a Charles Barkley guarantee.
Please do not sue us. Please do not sue us if he's wrong.
This is an Aaron Johnson guarantee right here. On the record.
Aaron Johnson guarantee. I mean, this episode will probably be out before Game 5 happens, but as if the A's could take 4 out of the 5, I think we'll be 6 games above the Astros in our division, which would be amazing because then we'd have a huge bump on them. And then obviously, if the Giants can just lose to the Mariners, then they'd have a harder chance. But but that's probably not going to happen since the Giants are really hot right now.
The sky.
Not happening. Not happening.
All right, that's definitely getting cut out. That's definitely cut out. That's kind of ruining my mood. I'm actually in a really fucking good mood. It just, I've been saying this for a while now. Can you stop dancing? You're fucking things up for me. I've been saying this for a while. That this just doesn't feel like football. Preseason has always been, it's the foreplay leading up to the NFL season. And right now it just feels like, 3 knuckles deep. And I just wasn't really into that. Lemire's, he knows a little bit of what I'm talking about. But I just wasn't into it. And now it's finally, I'm kind of getting used to it. And it's like, holy shit, tomorrow football, tomorrow there's going to be football. Thursday night football. Chiefs, Texans, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes. There's enough said. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just really fucking excited.
Football's back, baby! Let's go!
Football's back. We gotta,
I've been hyping up the entire house for the past couple of days. So,
dude, I'm like actually like literally with this week. I don't care about this week. It's just literally been Thursday and Sunday, and then Monday are the only only things that circle.
Monday night's like my least favorite. Football.
No, but there's 2 Monday nights. The first week there's always 2 Monday nights, so it's a little bit better.
I guess, hopefully.
Giants Steelers, you gotta get excited for Giants Steelers.
Oh yeah, I got a couple players from those matchups playing.
Of course you do, yeah. Okay.
Everyone.
He does have everyone. Dude, foreshadowing to maybe another interview.
Fantasy football, All right. Anyways,
well, okay, you just gave it away. But yeah, fantasy football. And I mean, we talked about our highlights of the week. NFL season is back, and just talk about the NFL season. I don't know why I keep doing this. Marcas Grant, NFL fantasy writer. Check out this interview. All right. Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Muffed Podcast. As always, my name is Boaz, and I'm joined by Lemire and Aaron. Today, we're joined by Marcas Grant, Senior Fantasy Editor for NFL Network. Did I get that right? Did I get all your titles? I saw you had a bunch of them.
Here's the thing. I don't even know honestly what my title is. I'm just a fantasy dude for the NFL. So you guys made me sound great. So thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
no problem.
I went on the NFL website, and I was trying to look it down. I was like, damn, you got a bunch of titles, man.
Yeah, I don't even know which one it is. I'm just like, yeah, I'm the fantasy guy. That's it.
All right, we'll cut this part out. Yeah. You're the senior VP fantasy editor. Fantasy guru, I don't know, whatever name you want.
Whatever sounds good.
Well, I mean, we got to put your knowledge to the test, right? Let's go. I mean, what we're going to look into is that usually around the start of the new season, we kind of like to go around and look at every game from each week and kind of give our predictions on, who's going to win or who's going to lose. But since you're here and, you're the fantasy football expert, we thought we could put a fantasy spin on it, and maybe we'll look at each matchup, and maybe we can do some. You can talk about some highlights of what you think is going to happen. Maybe highlight, I don't know, there's something with the stadium, or maybe a team does particularly better against some sort of scheme. I don't know. You're the expert here, but
or any player to look out for. Or stuff
exactly. Yeah.
Sure.
So sure. I thought it would be best start off right tomorrow. Today is NFL Eve, right? Tomorrow is the first game, Kansas City versus Houston. So do you have anything that you're really looking out for? And at the end, maybe give who do you think is going to win?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the biggest thing here is I want to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire, right? It's his first game. You're talking about, one of the more talented running backs that was in the draft class. He goes and now gets himself a starting gig in what is the best offense in the National Football League, especially with Damian Williams opting out because of COVID. So now it is pretty much CEH's job. So I'm very curious to see him slide in there. This is a guy that in fantasy drafts was going in the middle of the first round. So we want to see him sort of pay that thing off. I do think on the field, this has the potential to be a high-scoring game. I mean, let's remember, last year in the playoffs, Houston jumped out to a 24-0 lead, and then they got rolled. They got rolled the rest of the way by the Chiefs. I don't expect that to happen again, but I do think this has the potential to be a high-scoring game. But in the end, I think Kansas City takes it to them again. I think they ended up winning probably by a couple touchdowns.
Wait, so what do you think, or what's the reason that people are taking Clyde Edwards-Helaire so high in the drafts? Like, what about him is like making him the standout pick?
Aaron's he's a big hater for Clyde. He's not a big
that's a strong word. That's a strong word. Say, hey, that's not true. I never said that. These guys are liars.
He's a strong dislike for Clyde.
I think when you talk about the rookies that were coming out this year, right? I mean, the argument about who was the top rookie was somewhere between Jonathan Taylor and DeAndre Swift, but Edwards-Helaire was probably right on their tails, right? I mean, he was sort of the consensus number 3 and not by a whole lot. So you look at a guy who was effective running the football, who's an excellent pass catcher. And I always say that when it comes to fantasy, upside is a combination of age, talent, and opportunity, right? He's young, he's incredibly talented, and he's going to have a huge opportunity in a great offense. It's hard to not like what the potential for him is in Kansas City.
I mean, I always like to go back to the story, right? We had Smitty on, and he loves to tell that too, where the rumor goes that Andy Reid, right? They texted him and the GM, they texted Patrick Mahomes, and who do you want? Who do you think we should take here at 32? And he was like Clyde. So I mean, if that's his guy, and if it's I think right, Andy Reid's been on record saying that he's going to be the next Brian Westbrook, or he's going to have similar usage or something like that. I mean, the sky's the limit.
Hoping he drops similar fantasy points because I have him in 2 of my leagues.
We're just heavily invested in him. Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing. When Andy Reid has a running back he likes, he will give him a lot of work. Now, the last couple of years, I think he's struggled to find somebody he could feel comfortable with. But, I mean, you go back through his history. I mean, you mentioned Brian Westbrook. He was one. He had, LaShawn McCoy for a year or two in Philadelphia. Yeah. He had Jamal Charles in Kansas City. He had Kareem Hunt for a couple of years in Kansas City. When he finds that guy he likes, he will ride him. And I think CEH is sort of the next guy in that line.
All right. I mean, let's just go around. I think I'm with you. I'm going to go with Kansas City. I think Kansas City is going to win this one. Lemeter, what are you going to go?
I got Houston winning,
Why is that?
There's a weekly upset. Wow. There's a weekly upset. I see Deshaun Watson he's going to play well. I think David Johnson might be a sneaky good addition. Call Bill O'Brien
Listen, I'm bitter about the Niners losing the Super Bowl, but like that's even crazy.
and I have Deshaun Watson on my fantasy team, so we got to go.
Okay, there. I got you. All right.
That was like a biased pick, I see.
No bias. I have no bias involved. Absolutely not.
All right, Aaron, give us a little bit of logic. Can you just say Kansas City, man?
I mean, from everything I've seen, I'm gonna have to go Kansas City because they were down 24-0 in the championship last year. I mean, not the championship, the divisional round, and they came back. I mean, and honestly, like if they just don't get off on a bad start, they'll just be able to handle that team. So yeah, and plus now they're without DeAndre Hopkins too. That's what I'm going with.
For sure, yeah. All right, so the next one, Sunday 10 a.m. The new Washington football team. I mean, it's not really new, but the new name, the Washington football team versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Who are you looking out for that game?
I am sort of looking out for Miles Sanders, and this is a guy that I loved his talent. I wasn't sure coming into the season how much of an opportunity he would get just because Doug Peterson is a guy who sort of has been platooning running backs, but they didn't sign anybody. I thought maybe Devontae Freeman would get a look there in Philadelphia. That didn't happen. And then a few weeks ago, Peterson says, look, Miles Sanders is our guy. The only thing this week to sort of be concerned about is he's been dealing with what they're calling a lower body injury, which sounds sort of like what they say in hockey instead of like any other pro sport. But, I expect that he's going to play. We'll see if he's limited. But, the word is he's looked great in camp, and the way they want to use him, if things go according to plan, Miles Sanders could end the season maybe in the top 5 in total touches in the NFL. And like I said, because of his talent, I think he's got a potential to really be successful. And I think if he's healthy enough and gets a solid workload against Washington, I think he's going to really pop this week because with that Washington defense, they are trying to rebuild everything for the umpteenth time there in Washington, and that defense is going to have Chase Young is
rebuilding
great.
Everything. It's not just a team anymore; it's the whole franchise.
It's the whole franchise. No, from the ground up. Chase Young, I think, is excellent, but he is just one guy, and I think that Miles Sanders is really going to. I think he's going to have a pretty good game. I think Philly wins this one pretty easily because they are by far the more talented team from top to bottom, and I think they take this one in a walk.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think Miles Sanders has always been associated with like that kind of the disgusting word in fantasy football. Like you don't want to hear that, the running back by committee. You hear that and you're like, oh man, I want to stay away from that. I don't want anything to do with that. But I mean, yeah, I think you're right that the fact of the matter that they didn't sign anybody kind of sounds like maybe, he's still kind of a committee, but maybe he's going to be getting a little bit more shares and a little bit more carries than he was last year. All right. So, you said Eagles. I'm going to stick with you. I'm going to I don't know how you're going to go. You're going to have to go with Washington because I'm going with Philadelphia, dude.
I'm a big fan of the city of Philadelphia, so I'm going to agree with you and go with the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right. Aaron.
I mean, this one's like not that difficult. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to win.
Ever since Lemieux said Houston's winning, it's been ever since Lemieux said Houston's winning. I'm just I gotta ask.
I see.
Okay, so next one is Dolphins versus Patriots. That one is kind of many years before it was kind of always a blowout year. It's going to be the Patriots, but now it's a little bit different. Tom Brady's not there. Who are you looking out for?
A couple guys. One, I want to see Cam Newton. He's a guy that in fantasy, look, when he has been healthy, this is a guy who's a top 5 fantasy quarterback. I don't know if he's going to get back to that this year, but I still think, Cam Newton can still be a top 10 fantasy quarterback this year in New England, especially if he goes back to running the football. So I want to see him in that role as the starter there in New England. So he's a guy I'm definitely keeping an eye on. I do want to see the Dolphins a little bit. They're just interesting to me because, nobody expected them to win a game at all last year. They won 5. And they're still kind of putting some interesting things together. I think they've got 2 kind of interesting wide receivers in Devontae Parker and Preston Williams. I sort of am liking what they're trying to do in the backfield right now with Jordan Howard and Matt Breida. They just have a lot of really interesting parts. They're not. I don't think they're a playoff team this year. I'm not going to get crazy like that. But I do think they're going to be kind of fun to sort of watch because they don't really have a lot to lose. Why not just go out there and just sort of let it all hang out? They got Ryan Fitzpatrick who's going to stand back there and throw YOLO balls all day. It's going to be interesting. So those are sort of what I'm watching. I think this game is going to be fairly close. I think the Patriots will win it, but it's not going to be like years past where you just knew, this hasn't been a rivalry. It's been hammer versus nail the last few years.
It feels weird to say that it's close. It just doesn't feel it.
But I do think it's going to, look, the Patriots or the Dolphins won that game last year in week 17, I think it was.
That's true.
I don't think they win this one. Yeah, I don't think they win this one. I think the Patriots win it, but it should be, I think, pretty interesting.
Dude, the one thing I see is that there's something eerily reminiscent between the Dolphins team last year and the Niners in 2017, where it's kind of like they just couldn't buy a win, and then at the end, the Niners had the infusion of Jimmy G, and I feel like the Dolphins, I don't know what really changed with them, but maybe just something clicked with Brian Flores. Maybe the players bought it more, but there's something that clicked as well. So it's kind of like, are they going to build up on that in the next year? But I can't. I'm with you. And the Patriots are winning. I cannot Bill Belichick. It's a much weaker roster than we're used to for the Patriots, but Bill Belichick is Bill Belichick.
All right, my turn. Yeah. Let's see. I want to say Patriots, but there's something sneaky about the Dolphins. No, the Dolphins were a good team. They beat the Patriots with Brady, and without Brady, you don't know what the Patriots offense is going to look like. And Dolphins, they have had some time to gel. And Fitzpatrick always has those insane 4 games a season where he just goes off, drops 40 points on the other team. So I got a feeling.
All right, you've got a feeling. All right, Aaron.
I think the Patriots are going to win, but the Dolphins team, I think the Dolphins are going to be good in a couple of years because Brian Flores really inspired that team. What I saw, he got a lot out of that team that was supposed to tank, and he managed to pull 5 wins out of that. So that was a very good job. I think he's the coach for the future for them. But Marcus, I have a question for you. What do you think of the fantasy outlook for N'Keal Harry? He was a first-round pick last year, and there was some hype about him. He got injured, but now I think he's the 2nd or 3rd string guy. So what do you see him doing this year, if anything?
Yeah, I'm sort of frustrated with that because I like N'Keal Harry. I liked him at Arizona State, and I really had high hopes for him. Last year was sort of a lost season for him, and I was hoping that maybe things would turn around. But the reports out of training camp weren't really that positive. And like you said, he's a little bit down on the depth chart, which is frustrating because they really need wide receiver help. They got Julian Edelman, and beyond that, there's not really much to get excited about. So the fact that he hasn't really been able to kind of make a splash there is sort of frustrating. I'm not totally ready to give up on him yet, but it's getting late real early out there in New England.
Yeah,
I have a question
too. For him.
Yeah, I have a question about the Patriots. Their running back situation has always kind of been weird. Like, there's usually a general like rule with the fantasy community that you want to stay away from Patriots running backs, unless it's James White or someone like Deion Lewis. But this year is just kind of weird. Like, who are you looking out for? Like, who do you think is actually out of that backfield? Who would you want to get on your team? Would it be Damian Harris or Sony Michel or somebody else?
Yeah, I came up with a term for it a few years ago. I called it Bellatrix, like, because you just never knew what they were going to do there. Although I will say the last couple of years, I think we've gotten a better handle on the Patriots backfield situation. You sort of knew when it was a James White game. You could kind of figure out when Sony Michel was going to get his. You also figured out Rex Burkhead. We called the Rex in the flex every once in a while. This year, look, James White's going to have his role. He's going to be the pass catching back. Between Sony Michel and Damian Harris, I would much rather take the shot on Damian Harris. Sony Michel has just the last couple of years, he's dealt with injuries. He's sort of underperformed. And it's interesting, right? Because the Patriots sort of had a choice between the two University of Georgia running backs at the time. They could have gone Nick Chubb. They could have gone Sony Michel. They went with Sony Michel. Nick Chubb so far has looked like the better guy over the last couple of years. Yeah, so it sort of makes you wonder. But I think Damian Harris has a lot more upside. I know he's hurt right now, so he's going to miss a few games to start the season. But I think in terms of what he does as a pass catcher, I think in terms of his ability as a runner, I just think he has a little bit more upside. And in drafts, he came at a pretty good price. So if you drafted him, don't freak out. Just hold on to him, stash him for a little bit, wait for him to come. And I think once we get to, probably October or mid-October, something like that, I think you're going to see him start to take over a little bit in that backfield. I would just rather take a shot on him. We've seen the Sony Michel movie. We know how it ends. It's not that exciting. I think I'd rather try something else.
Look at me, man, making big moves in fantasy drafts.
Leader's excited, yeah. He doesn't like your picks. I guess he doesn't like your predictions of who's going to win, but he's right with you about who to draft. All right, let's move on to the next one. Packers and Vikings. See, that's kind of an interesting one. That's probably the first game that we've had that seems a little bit competitive. Might be a toss-up between, who we're going to choose. Who are you looking at there?
Yeah, I think, look, I'm sort of curious about the Packers running backs. Aaron Jones had a huge year last year. I don't expect him to repeat that. I mean, he had 1,500 yards, almost 1,600 total yards, 19 touchdowns. That's really hard to duplicate, especially because they went out and drafted A.J. Dillon, who sort of blew Twitter away when he showed up, in camp wearing like with these giant legs. It looks like he stole them off an elephant or something like that.
Made Saquon look small.
Seriously, yeah. I mean, dude, that's the guy we call Saquads, and A.J. Dillon was sort of putting him to shame there. So I'm just curious to see how he slides into this offense, because I think he could end up being sort of their goal line back in a lot of situations. So I'm really keeping an eye on that situation there. I do like Davante Adams this year. I think he could end up as the number one receiver in fantasy football, because regardless of what Aaron Rodgers says.
Who else is he throwing to?
Right. Who else is he throwing to? He keeps talking about, Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Alan Lazard and all these dudes. But really, when things get hairy, he's going to throw to Davante Adams. So that's what I'm keeping an eye out for. The Vikings, they are kind of who they are, right? Adam Thielen's going to get a ton of targets. Dalvin Cook's going to get the ball a whole lot. I am interested to see what happens with Justin Jefferson, their rookie wide receiver, because I do think he could be really good this year, but I think it may take him a few games to sort of get going. But I do just want to watch and see how they use him. Meanwhile, on the field, I think the Vikings will figure out a way to win this game. I think it's going to be kind of an ugly game. I don't expect a ton of scoring in this one, but I think the Vikings will pull it out.
I think I'm going to stick with that. And as well as, they got Ngakoue now. I just like their defense. To be honest, I think I'm with you where I don't think it's going to be a really offensive showcase. It's going to be which defense can lock up. And I have a lot more confidence in the Vikings defense than I would in the Packers defense. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Vikings. Tell us why the Packers are going to win.
Two things to note. First of all, I rolled the dice on Davante Adams as well. There we go. And second thing, Aaron Rodgers, I think he was interviewing with Pat McAfee this morning, and he said something interesting. He said the most impressive player to him during this camp has been Jamal Williams, guy I backed since last year. So I was glad to hear that. But that, like Marcus said, that just muds up their running back situation even more. You got Jamal Williams, who was a solid number 2 last year. I started him a couple games, played pretty well. Aaron Jones, who went off last year, and A.J. Dillon, yeah, so that muds it up. But, Aaron Rodgers is going to be Aaron Rodgers, so I got them winning.
You just like going against us. I think that's what you. All right, Aaron. Let's continue the trend. Tell us why the Vikings
Well, but the first point I was going to bring up is that Danielle Hunter just went on the IR, I think, today. So I think I don't think that's going to have a huge impact on the game. But, he's a guy that's probably one of the best defenders in the league. But I feel like the Vikings overall are still pretty solid without him compared to the Packers defense. But that makes it a little harder for me knowing that he's a leader in that defense and the impact that he has. But I feel like still the Vikings have a way more solid team all around. So I'm still going to go with the Vikings. But yeah, I mean, the Packers, I just don't understand how they were 13-3 last year. I mean, that roster does not look that good. But yeah,
I just didn't get the memo of the picks today. You guys discussed it.
I think this one we might be more consistent on. All right, Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, this is a team that I've seen a lot of ESPN's predicting them. I think I've seen NFL Network to CBS. They're pretty much unanimously predicted as going to be a top 3 worst teams in the NFL. Do you have any look out there? I mean, maybe not on the Jacksonville side, but maybe on the Colts at least.
Well, I do actually. Well, I'll start with the Colts side, but because I want to watch Jonathan Taylor. We talked about Clyde Edwards-Helaire and what he sort of means for the Chiefs offense, but I do think Jonathan Taylor is going to have a big role in the Colts offense. I like him. This dude scored 50 touchdowns in 3 seasons at Wisconsin. I mean, he was a touchdown machine and just kind of a bruiser. And I know he's splitting time with Marlon Mack there in Indianapolis, but I do think he's going to get a whole lot of opportunity. I think he's going to I think especially this first week, I can see the Colts sort of jumping out to a lead and then just kind of ground and pound in the second half, just run the football a lot. So I think you're going to see Jonathan Taylor kind of get showcased in a big way early in this season. So I really want to watch him. I mean, I guess I sort of want to see how Phillip Rivers performs with a new team, but Phil's going to be Phil, right? He's going to stand back in the pocket. He's going to use that weird throwing motion. He's going to just, launch the ball downfield a few times. Some of them will land, with his team. Some of them will go to the wrong color jersey, and that's just who Phillip Rivers is. But you talk about the Jaguars. I mean, the one guy I really want to watch, who I've been big on this whole offseason, is Laviska Shenault, the rookie from Colorado, he was like a Swiss Army knife for the Buffaloes. He I guess technically is a wide receiver, but they lined him up in the backfield. They gave him the football in so many different ways, and I want to see if the Jaguars are going to do that, because it's obvious they're trying to go with the youth movement, right? They are rebuilding.
Sure.
I'm not going to I don't want to use the T word. And people are saying they're tanking. I don't think they're doing that. I think they're just rebuilding. But they got rid of Leonard Fournette. They get rid of Yannick Ngakoue. They've got some young running backs there. They've got some young wide receivers. They're for now they've handed the keys to Gardner Minshew. But I just want to see if Shenault can sort of duplicate what he did at Colorado and kind of be that jack of all trades for the Jaguars this year. Oh, and by the way, that pick, I think Indianapolis wins. I don't think it's going to be close, by the way.
Yeah, this is the one I'm pretty confident. I think all 4 of us should be on the same page here. Yeah. All right, Lemire. All right, we'll get to next. Yeah, I'm with you. I like Laviska Shenault a lot too. In Colorado, I saw a bunch of Broncos fans on Twitter. They were all pounding. They because they love that guy there. Just the whole state of Colorado, they're big on Laviska Shenault. And then when he went to Jacksonville, I know a lot of them were disappointed. But yeah, I think he could be a real big threat. And I hate to say, because I feel like now ever since Deebo Samuel, you kind of see these everyone's like, oh, he's a Deebo Samuel type. They can run the ball and he can catch the ball. But that's kind of what he is. Yeah, he's a physical wide receiver who I think they can kind of like you said, like a Swiss Army knife. He can go anywhere on the field. He play running back, receiver, and I think down the line, maybe in the dynasty league, Shenault could be good, and maybe later on, if he gets a role in that offense, he could be also good in fantasy in a redraft formats. But and then I'm gonna go with Indianapolis for sure. All right, Lemire.
I got Indy winning as well. And another note,
dude,
I got Jonathan Taylor in 3 of my leagues. So
are you just gonna say every player that?
No, I'm just saying of the names he's highlighting, I'm picking them all. Look. NFL Network might as well just hire me right under Marcus, junior.
Wow. We invite him as a guest, and you're gonna steal his job? That's
no. I'm gonna be he's the senior editor. I'm gonna be the junior editor.
Okay,
and then we can work in a tandem.
All right.
I don't really have much to say about the game, but because I think the Colts are gonna win, obviously. But I have a prediction in my very unprofessional opinion that I feel like some Jaguars fantasy players are going to be steals later on in the year. And I'm saying that because when my team started out 0-3 last year in our league that we did, I started picking up a bunch of random not bench players, a bunch of random players from the free agent pool from the Dolphins that no one wanted. And then, they would go out and get some points for me. So I feel like if it comes down to, if there's a situation where like my starting receiver's hurt and I need to pick up the second string wide receiver on the Jaguars just because, he's going to get targets, I think that might be a move to do. Because those Dolphins players helped me a lot throughout the year. Just whoever the running back was, that one guy I think he got arrested and then cut within the middle of the season.
Mark Walton.
That Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Mark Walton. Yeah.
Yeah, I had him on my team, and I think he got 12 points a week, and that was good enough to get me the W. So I feel like some Jaguars might have some steals.
If you got any kind of production out of a Dolphins running back, consider yourself lucky. When you think about the fact that their leading rusher last year was Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
So look, Kalen Ballage was awful. By the end of the year, we were sort of hoping and praying that Patrick Laird would get you something. Like, if you got anything out of Dolphins running backs, consider yourself lucky.
Yeah, I had him the 1 week where he got over 10 points. So.
All right, we're unanimously we're gonna go with the Colts. Next one, I don't know. This one could be, Lemire's big on this other team. This is Lions and Bears. Lemire's big. He doesn't like the Lions, but he's big on the Bears. But Marcus, I want to hear your take. Do you have any guys on Lions or Bears that you're interested in?
There's nothing really out of the ordinary there. I think Allen Robinson should have another good year. This is the dude. Look, if I had one wish, it would probably be to I don't know, in systemic racism or something like that. But if I had a whole lot of wishes, I would spend one of them on making sure that Allen Robinson could at least have a decent quarterback at some point in his career. Literally, this dude went from Blake Bortles to Mitch Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky is a good quarterback.
That's where I was gonna go with it. He's
a good quarterback to do what?
Before Matt Nagy came and ruined him, I think Mitch Trubisky.
Okay.
Ooh,
yeah, man, you're coming in with the hot takes, man.
Lemire's our hot take guy. Anyway,
I would say
a hot take guy.
I do think Anthony Miller could have a really good season this year in Chicago. I think he's sort of under the radar there, so I kind of am looking forward to seeing how he performs there. On the Detroit side, I just want to watch the running backs. DeAndre Swift, I think by the end of the year will sort of take over that gig, but I think early on we're going to see a pretty even split between him and Kerryon Johnson. I think in fantasy I've sort of stayed away from that backfield because I don't know, something about it just gives me a weird feeling, and I just don't have any confidence there. But I just want to watch and see how they get used, which guy is getting the key touches, especially down near the goal line. So I really haven't, planted a flag one way or another with that Lions backfield, but I am going to be watching them closely.
It's a weird team.
Real quick, I think.
Go ahead.
I think the Bears win. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think
probably.
I think because there hasn't been preseason and teams are still sort of working themselves out, I think you're going to see a lot of bad offensive football. I would have thought that even in the best of seasons, this was going to be a low-scoring game. This one might be like a soccer score when it's all over.
I think it's raining too there, so I think it will make it even worse, even sloppier. But I don't know, maybe that'll make the defense worse. Maybe someone will burst a run and maybe I don't know, that'll do something. I don't know. But the Lions backfield, I think wasn't there like a stat since Reggie Bush, that was the last time they had a 1,000-yard rusher. It's weird. And the fact of the matter is that Kerryon Johnson, I was actually really hyped on him last year and stuff like that, and then he got injured. And then this year they went out and got DeAndre Swift and it kind of ruined it. I didn't think so low on Kerryon Johnson. And now it's I don't even really when I see him in draft boards, I kind of will stay away from both of those guys just because I'm not really sure, like you said, which way they're going to go with. But I'm going to switch. I've been kind of going with you consistently on our pick prediction. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going with the Lions. I might, I've already told them I'm a Matt Patricia guy. I actually got some belief in Matt Patricia. And I think their defense is kind of turning around. And I feel like this could be the year, especially with Matt Stafford being healthy. I think, they have a chance of winning. All right, Lemitre.
Well, you said I was a big Bears guy. I never said that on record. I'm a big Mitch Trubisky guy, not a Bears
Mitch
guy,
Trubisky.
A Trubisky guy. But anyways,
I wanted to make you sound a little bit better. The Mitch Trubisky guy is just what? Just
you got to support the underdogs, man. Come on. You got to do what you got to do. And if you hit on one of them, you're a genius. So you got to do what you got to do. But anyways, I don't see the Bears winning not because of Matt Patricia, which I don't know where he got that from, but
he rides his ATV around. I like his posture. He checks people's postures, and he's a cool guy to root for.
I'm a Matt Stafford guy, one of the more underrated quarterbacks in the league, and I got Kenny Golladay in my fantasy team. But that's actually not factoring into this decision.
Do you have a player from every matchup? Do you how did you do that?
It does help that I drafted 4 teams, right? So,
okay.
But Matt Stafford just might take the ship home.
All right, Aaron.
I'm actually very surprised at how this has turned out because I thought I was going to be alone here. But the Lions were good before Matt Stafford went down. They were competing with the Chiefs. They were 3-3, and honestly, like that team, they've got better. They added Jeff Okudah. They added DeAndre Swift, 2 rookies that people are pretty high about. Again, I don't like Matt Patricia as a coach, unlike Boaz, but
I don't know how you can hate on the guy.
I mean, but I mean, he was under Belichick for a while, so he might pull something out. But yeah, I think the Lions is going to be my upset for this week because that team was good before Matt Stafford went down. So yeah, that's my reasoning. I mean, obviously the Bears are. I think they're a good team, but I think they need to put Nick Foles in there because he was the best quarterback in that 2017 Philadelphia Eagles team. That's a hot take for another day. But yeah, I have the Detroit Lions coming on top in this one.
All right, let's go. I mean, we've been talking about kind of breaking down each one. I feel like the next 2 games are a little bit more like blah. I'm not as interested in them. Raiders, Panthers. I'm just gonna go quickly. I am gonna go with Panthers. I don't know. I'm not all in on the Raiders just yet. And to be honest, I was really shitting on Cliff Kingsbury last year, and in the college, coaches, kind of proved me wrong. So I'm gonna buy into the Matt Rule sweeps or whatever. Buy into Matt Rule. Christian McCaffrey's there. I mean, I don't know how you can go against Christian McCaffrey. Lemeter loves him. DJ Moore, and I mean, I'm not that low on Teddy Two Gloves. I think he can still be a starting caliber quarterback.
I think he could be a starting caliber quarterback. He's not a guy that in fantasy I think you're gonna invest in a whole lot just because that's just not the kind of guy he is. This I don't really know which way to go on this one. I think I'm gonna lean toward the Raiders, but I don't feel really strongly about it. I want to watch their passing game. They went out and they knew they needed help at receiver, so they went out and drafted Henry Ruggs. They got Bryan Edwards. They drafted Lynn Bowden, who they weirdly traded for less. I mean, they drafted him in the 3rd round, and then they traded him and a 6th round pick and got a 4th round pick back. I literally read that tweet from Ian Rappaport 3 times. I'm like, am I missing
that must be
something?
A mistake, right?
Am I missing something? What's wrong? So that didn't make a lot of sense to me, but I want to see how these new receivers slotted. I mean, think about this. I know 2020 has been weird and it feels like it's been like a decade already, but the Antonio Brown stuff was just a year ago. It really has only been a year since Antonio Brown sort of blew up and went away. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on. On the Carolina side, look, I don't think there's any surprises coming there, right? You mentioned McCaffrey. I think DJ Moore is going to have a really good year. There's nothing that I think is going to really surprise, unless Robbie Anderson somehow steps in and has a huge year there in Carolina. I don't know if there's anything that's really going to blow you away. So, like I said, I'm taking the Raiders in this one, but I don't feel really strongly about it. You could, I think if you worked hard enough, you could probably talk me off the ledge and over to the Panther side. But yeah, this is where I am right now.
All right, Lemeter, you got to help us out, man. We're kind of a stalemate here.
I'm a Raiders guy because even though Marcus Mariota is not starting.
Oh my God.
I'm a big Hunter Renfrow guy. He's 6 points guaranteed, 6 to 8 points. If you want 6 to 8 points from a receiver, take Hunter Renfrow. He might even go up to 10 this year consistently. Every week in, week out, you're getting 6 to 8 points. So it's just actually not a bad floor. So shout out to Hunter Renfrow. Apart from that, they got solid young receivers who I don't think Derek Carr will throw to. You got Henry Ruggs on a go route.
Yeah, why did they draft
Henry Ruggs on a go route, and Derek Carr's looking to hit Josh Jacobs on a 2-yard flat. But apart from that, I think Josh Jacobs a beast, and Panthers. Even though McCaffrey will carry them, DJ Moore will do well, but the Raiders are a sneaky good team. Their defense not bad, so I'm gonna go the Las Vegas Raiders.
That still feels weird to say. All right, Aaron, you gotta help. You gotta help us out.
I mean,
I guess you gotta help me out.
I mean, I'm not helping you out. I got the Raiders winning this one because the Panthers got rid of everyone. They got rid of everyone except McCaffrey. But I mean, you and Lemire know how much it pains me to say this, but I think the Raiders are going to take that one. But I mean, I have a question for you, Marcus. So they feel like Henry Ruggs is not going to be a good player, and I'm a little indifferent. I don't really know that much about the whole situation. But how are you feeling his production is going to be from a fantasy standpoint this year?
I mean, I think you guys sort of touched on it. I don't think he's a bad player. I think it's a weird fit. Just because he is that guy he's a lid lifter. He'll take the top off a defense, but you have a quarterback who traditionally has not thrown the football deep. And it's not like they haven't had speed guys, right? I mean, they had Amari Cooper there, and they still really didn't push the ball down the field. So that is sort of the weird thing to me. Now, I think if you're looking sort of long term at this, maybe you just kind of you go patiently because look, there's a very good chance that Derek Carr might not be the Raiders quarterback for too many more years. I mean, they seem to just not want to commit to him in any real way. I mean, even the fact that I don't think Marcus Mariota is the guy to take over the job. I mean, I think Mariota is basically Derek Carr with more speed. So like I don't see that being.
You say Nathan Peterman. I think what you're saying is Nathan Peterman, right? If I'm catching the drift.
that is not what I'm saying. But I do think they end up going getting somebody in the draft in the next year or two. I don't think they're going to luck up into Trevor Lawrence, but I think they go get somebody in the draft to kind of be the understudy there to Derek Carr. So maybe that helps what Ruggs' future is. But right now, with the quarterback being who he is, it's just a weird fit to me.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into a more interesting matchup. Browns-Ravens. I feel like, the Browns were such a hyped up team last year. They were like the 2019. Everybody loved that team. Ravens are a team that, down the line, I think everyone started to like, as if you like Lamar, you gotta love the Ravens. What are you looking out for that team? That's gonna be a high scoring game.
I think so. I just want to see what Kevin Stefanski is going to do with the Browns offense. Like every year, it seems like every couple of years, they're rebuilding again. And they're like, hey, this is finally the time. This is the one that finally sticks. I think this is the one that finally sticks. I think this is the time that they finally get it figured out. I think for fantasy, like a lot of people were big on Baker Mayfield. I mean, I had some doubts, but I didn't think he would flop the way he did last year. I think that maybe we were a year too early and that Baker sort of comes back into our lives in a big way. There's so many weapons there, man. I mean, between Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, they have two decent tight ends in Austin Hooper and David Njoku. There's just so many places for him to go with the football. They beefed up that offensive line. They went out and got Jack Conklin. They drafted Jedrick Wills. I mean, in terms of help around Mayfield, there are no excuses. So it really is about the play calling and how Stefanski can kind of get all these pieces to work. So I think there's reason to be optimistic. So I'm keeping an eye on that. I mean, in Baltimore, I just want to see Lamar be Lamar again, man. I mean, he's just fun to watch. I think that's kind of the biggest thing there. In terms of personnel, I want to see how J.K. Dobbins fits in. I still think he's maybe a year away. I still think this is Mark Ingram's job, and Dobbins' time starts to come next year. But I just want to see how they work him in, whether or not he ends up with a bigger workload than maybe I expect. But I do think the Ravens win this one. I think the division's going to come down to the Ravens and the Steelers, and so I think the Ravens get off to a 1-0 start.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go with you, the Ravens. But Lemire's been bragging about his fantasy team. I'm a little bit into the J.K. Dobbins. I got a few shares in that, and I think what you're hoping for, best case scenario, is this maybe like an Alvin Kamara rookie year type situation where Mark Ingram maybe starts off getting the carries most of the time, and then at one point it becomes more or less of a split. And then I think right in year 2 is when Alvin Kamara really kind of took over and he was the number one guy there, which I think is you're probably gonna that's probably how it's gonna go. And J.K. Dobbins will be next year's guy. But I'm still hoping that maybe he'll have some production. That's just me saying it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think just overall the Ravens, it just felt weird that you expected you're like, oh man, this team's gonna be so good in the playoffs. They had the best record in the NFL. Like everyone expected them to go really far. I mean, no one really thought the Titans would beat the Patriots and then go on and beat the Ravens as well. Yeah, I feel like they're gonna come back, and I feel like Lamar has also learned from his. He's been knocked out of the playoffs in the first round twice now. I feel like that's a little bit it's a learning experience. I feel like he'll just come in feeling more like a veteran rather than, a young quarterback. And, I like the Ravens team. Yeah. All right, Lemire.
Again, I traded J.K. Dobbins at a high price before the season even started. So,
okay, so who do you not have? Who do you not have, man?
I think I checked every box, every team, except maybe
so far, yeah.
No, actually, I drafted Antonio and Gibson this morning. So, you got everybody. But but I have the Browns winning. Lamar is really fun to watch. I know you guys
You're
would
Lamar
say
hater.
Hey, I'd rank him as a top 5 quarterback in the league. I'm not a hater. Yeah. Anyways, but Lamar's really fun to watch. I have to give him that. But I just have a feeling that there's that one team that disappoints you every year, and this year it might just be the Ravens. They've added so many players.
You say that every year.
I didn't say that last year. I didn't actually say that last year.
Buzz, you can vouch for me for this. Remember when he said the Ravens weren't going to make the playoffs last year?
Yeah, he said.
Remember when he said that?
That's
I might have. Anyways, I didn't. I got the Browns winning.
All right.
Next.
Aaron, let's see. Yeah, let's continue. We messed up the trend one time where it was like I was the one who was wrong, and like the three of you guys picked against me. Let's bring it back, Aaron. Like, come on, just say the Ravens for us.
I mean, I think the Ravens are going to win. I mean, the Browns, they have a lot of potential. I mean, every year, it feels like not every year, past couple years, it's been like, oh, the Browns, puts them together. People were picking them to go to the Super Bowl. People were picking. I saw Nate Burleson pick Baker Mayfield to be the NFL MVP. That was his prediction. Ooh. Which, I mean, obviously that didn't come true. Not even close. But I mean, this year, if Kevin Stefanski is just a decent head coach, I feel like the Browns can finally make the playoffs, and that's all they need. But they're definitely not better than the Ravens. And you guys were talking about J.K. Dobbins. I actually think that because of J.K. Dobbins, Mark Ingram is going to become undervalued, and I still think he's going to be a heavy part of that offense. So that's why I have Mark Ingram on my fantasy team. So that's what I'm hoping for. And I picked him in the fifth round. I think it was fifth. But yeah, so I feel like he's still gonna have a good fantasy year before J.K. Dobbins can really take off. But yeah, I have the Ravens coming on top in Week 1 against the Browns because did the Ravens go 2-0 against them last year? I don't remember. I know they beat them.
I believe
it was 1-1. They split it.
Yeah, because Nick Chubb had like that one crazy game, I think, right? Yeah.
Where everyone was like, the Browns are back. No, they're not.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
let's finish off. We're just a few more games left. I feel like this game. I mean, to be honest, when I look at this on paper, I feel like this should be the Sunday Night Football game. Like this, I'm way more excited for this game. It's Drew Brees versus Tom Brady, Tampa Bay versus Drew Orleans.
Both of them washed. No, just kidding. That was a joke.
Wow, dude, that
was a joke. Only one of them's washed. I'm gonna let you guys guess.
Only one of them.
Okay. All right, Marcus. Yeah, who are you looking at for that game?
I mean, I just want to see the Bucs offense, man. I mean, it's retooled, right? I mean, they get Tom Brady, they get Leonard Fournette just about a week or so ago. Ronald Jones supposedly is in hashtag BSOHL, best shape of his life. The one thing now, Mike Evans apparently has a soft tissue injury, so we'll see whether or not he's going to play. Keep an eye on that coming into the game, but. There's so much unknown about this. I mean, Gronk is there, right? Like, is this going to be?
They have 3 tight ends that honestly could start. It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Between Gronk, OJ Howard, and Cameron Brate, all 3 of those guys could start in different places.
Yeah.
And the last time we saw Gronk, I mean, let's just be honest, he looked like a shell of himself, right? He was sort of beat up. The injuries had kind of taken their toll. He took a gap year. He found himself. He was on The Masked Singer. He was like hanging out on cruise ships and stuff like that. So like maybe he's refreshed and rejuvenated. I don't know, but I just sort of want to watch how all these pieces fit together and how all this works, and whether or not Tom Brady really is washed, right? I mean, I know he's been great for a long time, but Father Time comes for us all, except for Frank Gore. Frank Gore is going to live forever. But I just see, right? Like if Tom Brady still has it, I mean, dude just turned 43 about a month ago. So I just want to see what's up with him. I mean, on New Orleans, we know who they are, right? I mean, Drew Brees is going to sling the ball to Michael Thomas. They're going to give the ball to Alvin Kamara. And then their peripheral pieces. Emmanuel Sanders will make plays. Jared Cook will make plays, so on and so forth. But the Saints are a pretty straightforward unit. We sort of know how that one's going to go. I still think they win this one. I still think they're the best team in the division. I know everybody is picking the Bucs. They're kind of the new hotness. They're the new trendy team. But I still think, man, like the road, at least in the NFC South, the road still runs through New Orleans. You got to get through the Saints, and I don't think Tom's going to get it done this time.
Aaron's got that.
Aaron's got the Saints. Well,
no, I was gonna say I appreciate the Frank Gore comments. Really pandering to the Niners fan. But yeah, no, I'm with you that I think like this is a big matchup. I think these two teams will be at the top of the NFC South. But I'm still, I can't go against New Orleans. It feels like to me, Tampa Bay kind of feels like Cleveland did last year to some extent, where like on paper, like this team's amazing. Like I'm looking at these names and I'm like, holy crap, this looks like a Madden team. Like if I try to make a team and just trade for all the best players, this would be the team that I would try to build. But then something about it, it's more like a gut feeling. Maybe it's with the coronavirus, how they have the shorter training camp. Also could be that I know I made jokes before. They they got Gronk from Fox. What are they going to bring Michael Strahan into? Is he going to be playing ZN now for them too? It's just I don't know how. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know how good Gronk is going to be, and I think especially since it's just week one, I think Tampa Bay is going to have to they have to figure something out. I don't think they're going to be that amazing right at the gate. Maybe towards the end, towards the end of the season, by December, maybe this is a completely different story. We're talking about how Tampa Bay is so much better than New Orleans. But for week one, I mean, I'm with you. I got to go New Orleans. All right, Lemeter.
This one's a hard one to pick. I'm not high on either team, but, Saints are a good team.
Oh, my God.
So I'll give it to the Saints.
Are we all going to agree again? All right, Aaron. This would be weird if you were the Saints. That would be weird.
I dropped the most underrated receiver of all time. I accidentally dropped my Marcus Colston jersey. Most underrated receiver of all time. How did that happen? I didn't plan
you
for
just
that
carry that around with you?
Maybe. Okay, anyways, I have the Saints coming on top in this one, and no bias here, but I just think the New Orleans Saints, they have a very solid team. Obviously, they can't beat the Vikings in the playoffs. We know that, but I mean, they're an incredibly solid team, and I feel like what Boaz said, like the Buccaneers just coming together, and there's not really that much training camp. But we don't know how Gronk's going to do, really, because he was really, really beat up in his last year at the Patriots. But I mean, hey, they honestly could put it together by the end of the year. Honestly, once they get a couple games into their belt together, I think that team's going to be scary. But just coming in straight week one, I think they're going to be a little rusty still. But it scares me because I don't want to see Tom Brady win another Super Bowl. I don't think any of us do, unless Marcus, you're a Patriots fan.
I
just
not.
don't know that. Okay, but I mean, it's scary because if that team gets clicking, they're dangerous. But I have the Saints coming on top at least for week one.
Yeah. I mean, what the second time that we're actually, we're all in agreement. But let's finish it off. Last game we're going to look at. This is the real Sunday Night Football game, or at least on paper, what's the Sunday Night Football game. Rams, Cowboys. These are two teams that, I mean, last year are kind of they were very hyped up, and I feel like both teams kind of really underperformed. We're going to get to see the new SoFi Stadium. We saw that in Hard Knocks, see it finally in action. And I think the one big thing that actually, Marcus, I want to hear your take on is the Rams running back situation, because it's the moment Gurley left, it's very weird. Like, I mean, everyone, Cam Akers is really, I feel like he's the number one guy that people are taking in fantasy football drafts. But there's something that kind of there's this feeling in me that's kind of saying, like, I feel like maybe Sean McVay isn't being as straightforward with us, and maybe Cam Akers isn't the guy. But I don't know. I want to hear what your take on that is.
I think long term he is the guy, but even that I think is going to be questionable. The reason I stayed away from from the Rams backfield in drafts is just Sean McVay has name checked like every running back that ever played for the Rams franchise, man. Like, I mean, he would talk about Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Kelly or Malcolm Brown and John Kelly and Gaston Green and Eric Dickerson and Zach Stacy. I mean, you can just keep going on and on and on. He just kept mentioning all these guys, and that was enough to sort of scare me off of this thing. The other part of that is, look, the Rams last year, they ran the ball a lot in the red zone, but that's because they had Todd Gurley, who was a touchdown machine. Now that they're going with a committee, I think they back off of that. So I think they're going to start throwing the ball when they get down close to the goal line. So that's another reason to be concerned. Their offensive line still has some question marks on it. I mean, Andrew Whitworth is kind of the elder statesman, but I mean, look, he has not been playing the best over the last couple of years. They've got a lot of question marks there. There's just a lot of reasons to sort of be worried about the Rams running game. Like running a committee and not knowing who's going to be out there it's great for real football because it makes you hard to defend. It's terrible for fantasy because we want clarity. We want to know who's going to get the ball and win. And so I have just generally stayed away from the Rams running backs this year. On paper, I think this could be a fun game potentially because I expect both these teams to throw the football around a lot. The Rams with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee, they are fun when their passing game is clicking. On the other side, Dak's got Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb. I like Blake Jarwin. So there are a lot of offensive stars in this game. So in that respect, it could be fun. I think the Cowboys are going to win. I think the Cowboys. I hate to say this, I'm not a Cowboys fan, but they're a really good team. They're a really good team this year. And so I think they're going to come in and they're going to win. I'm sort of sad there won't be fans there. I don't live terribly far from SoFi Stadium, but obviously there's not going to be any fans there. The other part of it is that there's a really good Jamaican restaurant right across the street from the stadium that I like to go to. So that's a plus. But I do think the Cowboys end up winning what in theory should be a pretty entertaining game.
This matchup was kind of the worst, like 49ers fan. You got the Cowboys, you don't really want to root for them. The Rams, you don't really want to root for them. And I hate to say it, but I think you're right. There's something about the Cowboys, and this totally could be like an on-paper thing where they just look like the Cowboys have always been, it's like, oh, Dak never has a receiver. Then they got Amari Cooper. Then, Michael Gallup showed up. And now they got CeeDee Lamb. And it's like, holy shit. I mean, they got 3 good receivers now. And the defense has never been, Leighton Vander Esch. And, I mean, they have a bunch of guys on there. Even with the loss of Byron Jones, I still think they're going to be pretty good. And I hate to say it, but I think Cowboys will take this one. All right, Lemeter.
No worries. I can really.
I got the Rams. I want to say it's hard because they're a division rival, but, it's the Rams. And Sean McVay second best young coach in the league after Kyle Shanahan. But I think they'll figure it out. And, Cam Akers, I did not buy any shares of that, by the way. And
I think this is the first time we dropped the player and you haven't said you have.
I didn't get Tyler Higbee, mentioned him. And fun fact, I did not draft a single Cowboys player throughout.
Okay.
Interesting tidbit.
All right, Aaron, let's finish us off here, man.
All right. Well, I mean, both of these teams are in similar situations. Teams that have immense talent throughout the whole roster, but just did not make the playoffs last year. So I think this is going to be an interesting matchup to look at. But I feel like this one could go either way. But my gut, Lemeter likes to go with his gut a lot. I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. There's really no reason in particular, but because both these teams have a ton of talent. But I feel like the Cowboys are going to take this one. That's just how I feel about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like the Cowboys are a good team in fantasy. They're a team that I feel like, especially Dak Prescott, I wouldn't say that I would rank him like as a top 5 quarterback, but he's definitely probably like a top 5 fantasy quarterback, just with all the options he's got. Yeah, overall, that's.
I think he's going to be. I've got him preseason as my QB3. I think he's going to be that good,
exactly,
at least fantasy wise this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what he threw like 5,100 yards.
I mean,
how many yards?
He was the quarterback 2 last year. I mean, behind Lamar Jackson. He was ways behind Lamar Jackson because everybody was a ways behind Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
But he was the quarterback 2 last year.
That's crazy because you don't really think about that. But this matchup, I feel like maybe it's 2 teams that are not as they're exciting, but I feel like I don't know. I'm still I still think it should have been Buccaneers Saints just because that feels like a more exciting actual football game. But from the fantasy standpoint,
whoa,
this is 2 crazy offenses. Like these are 2 offenses that if you're a fantasy football owner, you want players from either one of these teams. They're gonna be good. But yeah,
I just want to say shout out to Baby Got Dak. That's my fantasy team. Anyways,
you guys are dropping all kinds of weird. All right. No, but thank you so much, Marcus, for coming on. And hopefully, you've enlightened our viewers, our listeners, and us. Honestly, Lemeter's got every one of all 50 of his teams. He's got figured out now who he wants to start.
You guys didn't need me here, man. I mean, Lemeter seems to have all the guys I talked about.
I mean, to be quite honest now, I think we've got our fantasy expert now. And it sounds like he's coming for your job too. So NFL Network might be.
I will be ready. I'll be ready to defend the throne.
If they're ever in the market for a new fantasy expert, I mean, you know who to call.
I know where to
exactly.
look. Exactly.
Yeah, but no, thank you so much for just coming on. We'll make sure please everyone check out NFL Network. Check out Marcus. You can go NFL.com, read his column, stuff like that. I'll make sure I'll put the links down just so people make it easy to check it out. But thank you so much for coming on.
I appreciate it, guys. Enjoy the season.
I do. I can't wait.
Yeah. I got all the picks you suggested, so I'm gonna enjoy the season.
With 50 leagues, I mean, the chances are that you should at least.
I might get my first dub in 5 years. So let's go.
Exactly. All right. We had our tradition. We started off with highlights of the week, and now we've kind of the past couple of weeks we've been doing our picks of quarterbacks for each direction on the compass, right? We started off with the West, then we went to the North, and logically speaking, it would go to the East, But we're not gonna be like that. We're not logical. We're gonna go to the south.
South, east, west, but we're going west, south, west, north, south, east.
That's what I'm saying. Logically speaking, it should be. Yeah, you kind of just said what I said, but yeah, thank you for explaining that. We're doing the South, NFC, AFC South, combining the list, top 8 quarterbacks. We're gonna go 8-7-6, then 5-4, and then 3-2-1, just to build up the suspense. And I feel like we had Lemire go first one time, Aaron first last time. I kind of want to take a chance at it. I'm gonna go first.
No, I don't want you to go first.
It's too bad I'm going first. I'm going with number 8.
Put his balls on the table.
I did really put my balls on the table there. Number 8. Teddy Bridgewater, Teddy Two Gloves. I mean, to be honest, that was a tough decision. But I'm gonna say this: I'm a Minshew guy. I like the mustache. I like the jorts. And we were with Leo Luna a few weeks ago, and he was talking about how I feel like Minshew is a little bit underrated. Like his stats, if you compare him to Kyler Murray, they're not that far apart. But it feels like Kyler Murray, he gets talked about like, he's really good, he has potential. And then Gardner Minshew is the opposite. It's like, this guy's gonna be benched for Trevor Lawrence.
This ain't it, Chief. This ain't it, Chief.
I mean, I don't know what I'm saying wrong. What am I saying that's wrong so far? But I'm saying Teddy at 8, Minshew at 7. I mean, that was a tough one, but I'm still going to go with Minshew at 7. And then the guy that Lemire is probably going to put at 8, Ryan Tannehill at 6. All right, Aaron. Since Lemire's got some hot takes, right. He'll go last. Aaron, you can go second.
So, all right, at number 8, I have Odell Beckham likes getting pooped on. Oh, fuck, wait, no, I just read that. Sorry.
I specifically request that moment not be brought up into this episode.
Wait, Aaron, what were you talking about? Aaron, I think you cut out there for a second. Can you say that one more time? I think you were saying Odell Beckham, number 2 wide receiver or something,
Sorry, Lemire, I had to do that just once. Okay, anyways.
Now it all makes sense why you wanted to go to the Cleveland Browns. All right, sorry, go ahead, Aaron.
All right, so at number 8, I have Gardner. Gardner Minshew at number 8. I have Minshew at number 8. But I just want to say, this is probably the best crop of quarterbacks that we've done so far because I'm looking at this definitely. List of 8. Like, there's not a guy that's not starting caliber in this whole list. I'm going to be honest with you.
Minshew's not starting caliber.
Why are you the Minshew hater?
Well enough.
The West was the best, in my opinion.
No, come on, because you –
No.
Just because they have 3 number 1 quarterbacks in that.
Yeah, but I'm saying just overall the list is just they're very close, very close and competitive.
Like, guys. Usually like 8 and 7, it's just guys I'm just like but like this one it was just like it's tough. Anyways, Minshew's my number 8. I think he's a solid quarterback. I think he has stuff to prove before he can get into anything. But I think it's gonna be hard for him to prove anything with how the Jaguars are kind of trading all his pieces.
That's
but
what I hate. Yeah,
number 7,
the odds are against him. It fucking pisses me off. But yeah.
And at number 7, I have Ryan Tannehill.
No homo.
I have Ryan Tannehill at number 7. And, he's a solid quarterback again. I mean, there's not much to say about him. He hands the ball to Derrick Henry a lot. But with that being said, Jimmy G does the same thing. And I give Jimmy G praise
they're
for
not
that.
even on the same scale.
Hold on. You didn't let me finish.
He's just saying the criticism. He's saying the criticism that's given to Ryan Tannehill should be applied evenly to Jimmy G. Yeah.
People say that about Jimmy G. And Ryan Tannehill, he's a game manager, and he got them to the AFC Championship. So people shit on Ryan Tannehill, and I guess I am saying he's the 7th best quarterback in the South. But you know what? I stand by Ryan Tannehill because he's going to win games for the Titans team. I just think talent-wise, these other quarterbacks are better. So I know it sounds like I'm shitting on him, but I do feel like Ryan Tannehill is a good fit for the Titans. Anyways, at number 6, I have Teddy Bridgewater, Teddy Two Gloves. I mean, he stepped into that Saints team, and they did not lose with him in a starting quarterback. Obviously, that team's extremely talented, but once again, he's a guy that played well. And he stepped up and he got wins. And honestly, for a quarterback, like the 6 and 7 guys, I think are actually solid starting quarterbacks, which is usually not the case when we do these lists. But yeah, I have Teddy. So I got Minshew, Tannehill, Bridgewater.
I can't. I think we're gonna all have the same 3 in the bottom. I just we're switching the order.
I got Tom Brady in here, but just anyways.
Oh, wow.
So number 8 is Ryan Tannehill, obviously as expected.
You saw that coming.
Marcus Mariota's better. They shouldn't have benched him. Actually, wait, let me go to the next one. The offensive coordinator actually for the Titans hates Marcus Mariota, so he actually made sure to make passing plays for Mariota.
Wait, Buzz, what was the Titans' record after they benched Mariota? I'm just curious. Do you know? Wasn't it
I don't know, but I remember they beat the Patriots and the Ravens. I just remember they beat the Patriots and the Ravens. That's all you got to know.
Wasn't that team significantly better as soon as Mariota was benched?
Oh, no.
Okay. They started relying on Derrick Henry as soon as Mariota was
because the offensive coordinator
Derrick Henry started going up. Okay, anyways, let me continue. Ryan Tannehill, one of the most overrated quarterbacks. I don't even know what he got comeback player of the year for last year.
Stole it more from the hard franchise to come back from.
He wasn't even injured.
He was on the Dolphins. That's even worse than injury. That's even worse than injury.
It should have been Jimmy. I think we can all agree with that.
Jimmy came back from a worse injury and played better.
No. But what's worse? Wait. What's worse, being injured or playing in the Dolphins? What's worse?
Being injured.
And Dolphins are going up. Dolphins are going up soon.
He was on there when there was a down. He was on the.
That's true. They went to the playoffs with Matt Moore when Tannehill was injured. So
that's
even
when they had Adam Gase, the best head coach of all time.
Anyways, next at 7, I got Minshew. Minshew's a solid quarterback. Where's the George? Rocks George. He's just
mustache.
Not that good. Oh yeah, mustache. Minshew mania. He's not the best, I'd say. And number 8, number 6.
I don't know how you can say Kyler Murray. Like if you can say Kyler Murray has upside, he's gonna be good. Why you gotta shit on Minshew like that, man?
Okay, Kyler Murray has tools. He has physical tools that are better than
Minshew does too.
Are we seriously comparing Minshew's arm and Kyler's arm? Are we comparing their athleticism?
No, I'm not comparing them. I'm just comparing them that they could be similar level. I mean, I think they could be both successful quarterbacks. I feel like they're just not talked about.
That's why I put him over Tannehill. Successful. Anyways, number 6, I got Tom Brady. No, just kidding. Number 6, I got Teddy Bridgewater. He came in, rattled some wins off for the Saints. Went undefeated. So he's a good quarterback. I'll give Teddy that. Great resurgence. He should actually be in the conversation for comeback player sometime in the past, because he actually came back from an injury.
That was like 3 years ago. I don't know. Can you do that?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess anything flies, right?
Anything's better
flies,
than
right?
Anything. Yeah, if they let Tannehill get it, anything flies.
Well, no, I see where they left it. I mean, Tannehill was in the football equivalent of hell. That's the scene that he was on.
It doesn't matter. He wasn't injured. Anyways, all right. Next, Boaz, go 6.
Does comeback player have to be injured, or is it just saying coming back from
a down? It says he has to come back from something, just adversity, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be injury. It's just kind of recently to come.
Before they gave it to injured players.
I mean, this year's gonna be Big Ben. It's gonna be Big Ben this year. Let's be honest here. Like Big Ben is his award to lose. No, it's Big Ben or maybe I don't know.
Cam Newton. Let's hear it.
Number 5 and number 4. I have a guy the 5 and 4 I kind of toyed with for a little bit. I'm going Phillip Rivers at 5. I mean, I don't think that's that crazy. I feel like most of us are going to be going with that. I think he's going to be a lot better than he was last year. I don't think he's a bad quarterback just yet. Like I'm not at the point where I'm going to be like, Phillip Rivers is he's kind of done. He should just retire. I'm not at that point yet. And number 4 is where it gets a little bit interesting. I think Lemire already named this guy. Lemire said he was going to be in his bottom 3. Tom Brady. That's who I put him.
Ooh.
I think there's a lot of talent. I mean, there's just a lot of talent there. To be honest, like I'm not saying that Tom Brady's bad. I'm just saying that, like comparatively to the rest of the talent, he's my number 4.
I mean, I think Lemire's got him at 5. So, I mean, that's my prediction.
Probably, yeah.
All right. So for me personally, you started off good, Boaz, because you know who I have at 5. I have Phil Rivers at 5. Let's go. Hecking gosh, I'm Phillip Rivers. Okay, yeah, I mean, the interception numbers were a little scary last year for Phillip Rivers, but I feel like if he could put it together, he's still a solid quarterback.
Yeah.
He's towards the end of his career. He's
a good team too. He's on a good team.
Yeah, he's a good team. I feel like this next one's gonna get me massacred, specifically by Boaz. Number 4, I have Deshaun Watson. And this is nothing against Deshaun Watson because he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I mean, but I had him at 10 on my QB list. But I'm just saying the other 3 guys I have above him are I feel like are better at this point. But I mean, Deshaun Watson, man, he's a fantastic quarterback. He's gonna add the run game. He has the run game to his team.
I mean, Carson Wentz to Deshaun Watson, Aaron. You got something against him, and you just don't like him.
Carson Wentz is overrated, but Deshaun Watson, I think, is a very good quarterback.
Carson Wentz, notably a name not on your top 15 quarterback list.
Noted. I have noted this. He put Carson Wentz below Dak. Can you believe that? Blasphemy.
Dak is better. I'd take Dak any day over Carson Wentz. Dak is better. I'll take Dak any day. Dak has better stats.
All right, what about Jared Goff versus Carson Wentz? Can you at least,
Jared Goff any day of the week?
I would take Carson
Wait, you didn't put Jared Goff on your list. You put Carson Wentz on your list. Yes, there you go.
Carson Wentz was number 3.
I'm calling you out, Lemire. I'm keeping you in check.
Carson Wentz was number 3 on my list.
Was he?
All right, Lemire, say Tom Brady at 5. Do it.
All right,
say
at
Tom Brady at 5.
Due to popular request, I got Phillip Rivers.
Hey, look at us!
Oh my God, why did you have to ruin it? Oh man.
Look at us, we got Phillip Rivers.
Phil did take a step back last year, but I think he might have a bounce back here to an extent. But and he's not better than the 8-4
on the same
guys.
page.
Maybe better than my number 4, but apart from that, no. Anyways, number 4.
I told with him. I
guys
agree.
Guessed it. You guys guessed it. It's Tom Brady. He's washed. That's all I have to say. Next.
Damn.
Okay. All right. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
okay. Now let me expand on that just before I get all the hate from the viewers. Tom Brady is a good quarterback, probably the greatest of all time, maybe behind Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion. But okay, he's number one.
Patrick Mahomes, right? Patrick Mahomes.
He's no, get out. He's Tom Brady's number one for me. As much as like I want to hate it, Tom Brady's number one. But he's just not the same. He's a shadow himself. Father Time catches up, and washed. Anyways, Boaz next.
Jesus.
He does have another son that he can still kiss. He only kissed one, so
That's true. If he can suck his by force.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, my next guy adds another 5 years to his career. My next guy, I think he's become my podcast favorite. Like, it's not even that like I mean I like this quarterback, but it's kind of he's Matt Ryan. I mean, what else can I say? He's
Matt Ryan. What can you say?
Number three. Number three. I also have Matt Ryan. He's a good quarterback. What can I say?
I did not see Deshaun Watson over Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan over Deshaun Watson, but go on.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, Aaron's not big on Deshaun Watson.
What if I have not said that? I like Deshaun Watson. I think he's a fantastic quarterback. I just like Matt Ryan more.
Right. So who's more eyed in your opinion, Matt Ryan or Deshaun Watson?
I think Matt Ryan's more all right because it's Matt Ryan.
He's Matt Ryan, but I feel like Deshaun Watson's a little bit over. He's not just.
I know he is over, all right, but he's Matt Ryan. He's gonna win you games.
Okay, all right. I don't think we're gonna convince you. Lemeter, who's your number 3 guy?
All right, number 3. I got a former MVP, Matthew Ryan. Great quarterback. He's Matty Ice. He's
good. He's a good quarterback.
Good quarterback. Yes, I have to say that.
Yeah.
All 3 of us had Matty Ice at 3. Nice.
That's true. Yeah, we had Phillip Rivers and Matty Ice consensus.
Even on the list, I think we all had Matty Ice on the same pick.
No,
that was Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray was the only one we had in the same.
Oh, really?
Which is weird because none of we didn't plan it. Like I thought that was gonna be a hot take, and like all of us put fucking Kyler Murray at 14.
I'll put Kyler Murray at 14. Yeah, because I feel like you thought. I feel like I was like whenever I was brought up Kyler Murray on the podcast, I was like in a negative tone. But I think he has a very bright future.
Yeah, he can. I'm a big Kyler fan.
I'm gonna bring him back. I like Kyler too. My number 2 guy might be very controversial. Number 2, yeah. Speaking of Odell Beckham, my number 2 guy really doesn't play. Has no correlation to Odell Beckham other than just a number. Drew Brees. That was
Whoa.
I mean, in my top 15 quarterback list, I had John Watson over him, and I'm gonna stick with that. I just think I would put. I don't know. Meter's putting the camera very close.
Is he fine? What's the deal here? He's
putting the camera very close to his face. It's a little uncomfortable. But, what can I say? I just think, if you're going to talk about the best improvisers right now in the NFL, I'm going to go with Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, and then Deshaun Watson. I mean, Deshaun Watson, you got to credit him. And I think this year he'll show you that even without DeAndre Hopkins, I still think the Texans will be relatively successful. And we're going to see that tomorrow.
That's an invalid take, man. Invalid.
I don't think so. I disagree.
I invalidate your take. Anyways, Aaron?
What about okay? Well, you said on your turn.
I don't know. Lemeter likes saying hot takes, and it's only only he can do the hot takes. He doesn't like it when I do it, so I get it. Yeah.
When you say hot take, when you say hot take, gives you shit for it. When I say hot take, gives me shit for it. I feel like we're accepting to his hot takes. We are. We know it's because we're honest. We're kind of encroaching on his turf. He doesn't like that. He's like, no, that's
guys.
True. That's true.
Away. Yeah.
Stop.
Everyone's got their roles, and we're exceeding ours. I think that's what.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Drew Brees number 2.
Anyways, at number 2, unlike you said Deshaun Watson, one of the best improvisers. Well, I have one of the best quarterbacks. I have Tom Brady at number 2. I mean, Lemeter says he's.
Lemeter, what are you excited about? You knew it was gonna be 2 or 1. What are you?
Tom Brady 2. Aaron, I'll let you.
I had him at 4 in my top 15 quarterbacks. You should have saw this coming. Anyway.
You did, yeah, I did, yeah. To be honest, I thought he was going to be 1. I actually thought he was going to say 1. So
no, I had Brees over Brady.
Yeah, he had Brees at 2 on the quarterbacks list.
Because Tom Brady, he's a little washed. He's a little washed. He's like the clothes of my local. He's like the clothes of my local dry cleaner. He's a little washed, but don't clip that. He's the number 2 quarterback, and I stand by that because he's a guy who's going to come in. Oh, damn it. Anyways, so he's going to come by and he's going to win games. Like in that Buccaneers team. That Buccaneers team is just infinitely better with him as a starting quarterback. I like people shit on game managers, and I think even if Tom Brady doesn't have the arm strength he once does, and Drew Brees doesn't have the arm strength as he once does, and he's still fucking completing all those passes. Lemire likes to call it slant routes, but if it works, it works. And if you got a system, I don't mind system quarterbacks. Honestly, people are like, oh, he's just a system quarterback. Who gives a shit if he's winning games?
Aaron's big in the system quarterbacks, dude. Ryan Tannehill, Jimmy G.
Yeah, you don't have to put up Patrick Mahomes numbers to be a good quarterback. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is better than Tom Brady and Drew Brees. I think we know that, but yeah.
All right, I just got to roast a couple people right now, so I'm ready. First of all, what's his face? Drew Brees throws slants and curls. Please get that right next time.
Wait, but does Michael Thomas run both? Wait, but does Michael Thomas run both?
He does.
Oh, so he's got a pretty good route tree.
Only
he only has one route.
And occasionally comebacks. Apart from that, he doesn't run. Anyways.
3-4 routes, that's 4 more than I thought you were going to say. Wait. Let me do 4 routes. That's 4 times more than the routes I thought you were going to say he runs.
Anyways, next. My turn. Aaron, you were saying something?
I was going to say, boys, don't most quarterbacks, aren't they able to throw slants and curls pretty well? Most quarterbacks?
No, next.
I would
My
say
turn.
they would, yeah.
All right. So first of all, to the point that Boaz has Deshaun Watson at 1. Okay, first I'll say my number 2. I got Deshaun Watson, great quarterback.
See, this is the Aaron thing where it's like it's just one pick.
He did the same thing you guys did to me with Lamar Jackson.
Solid quarterback, absolutely. He can. Yeah,
but I don't like.
games.
Okay, wait. I don't like it. I don't like it on this end. I like it being on the Lemeter end where you're the one who you're like, oh my god, I can't believe you put him so high, and then you're like, I just have him one pick. like.
Anyways, so here's my reasoning why Deshaun Watson is not number 1 and why he'd be number 4 on the NFC West. First of all,
Deshaun. One of the questions. Wait. Why is that?
Okay. Let me. Can I expand?
Sure.
Deshaun Watson and Jimmy G almost had identical stats last year. So first of all,
I think there's more
Jimmy
than stats.
is Jimmy. Okay.
Game manager.
Okay. Wait. Game manager, right? Game manager. That game manager would not have blown a 24-point lead to the Chiefs. Jimmy gets shit for blowing. Jimmy gets shit for blowing a 10-point lead when his offensive line was piss poor. Deshaun Watson blew a 24-point
Jimmy gets shit for overthrowing Emmanuel Sanders. Let's get it straight.
Okay, wait. Okay, Deshaun Watson was up 24-0.
Man, that's interesting. I didn't know he plays defense. I didn't know he plays both sides of the ball.
He doesn't. I don't. Okay, but
I believe Jimmy G plays a little Mike linebacker. He dabbles in a little Mike linebacker.
Hold up. People give Jimmy G shit for blowing a 10-point lead. They say he can't win the Super Bowl. What did Deshaun Watson do? Wait,
Kyle Shanahan.
Hey.
Go ahead.
Hey, listen. What did Deshaun Watson do? They were up 24-0. Where did his offense go after that?
I mean, the Titans did that too. The Chiefs just had crazy run.
That's why Ryan Tannehill's number 8. All right, number 8.
You fed into him, boss.
Yeah,
that's
but that's the team. That's the whole team. Aaron, I'm going on Aaron's thing. That's the fucking team.
No. Listen, Deshaun Watson was part of the team that blew a 24-point lead. Judge him on the same scale as Jimmy and Deshaun Watson. It does not deserve to be number 1. Tom Brady's just washed, Aaron. As to your point, he's just washed. I've thrown that cloth in the dryer or washer 50 times in the past 5 days. That's how washed he is. Anyways,
Jesus Christ.
Over to you.
And I think Lemeter's been ripping on us for a while. I feel like we should gang up right now. I feel like we should just.
Hey, Aaron, we got the same number 1, by the way. We do
have the same number 1. So we do.
Wait, did you guys both put Taysom Hill?
Yeah, we did.
I put Jameis.
Oh, sick. Yeah, no, Deshaun Watson. He still plays?
Number 1?
Yeah, I actually was gonna put Tom Savage. I don't even know if he still plays for the Texans, but Tom Savage number 1. First off, I like his last name. Tom is not bad for a first name either. You could say Thomas also, but I just like Deshaun Watson better. Deshaun Watson, I already said it. He's better than I. He's a crazy improviser. I mean, there's plays he's gonna make that Jimmy's like. I mean, if you're gonna say we can compare Jimmy just because of stats, there's a whole lot of things that Jimmy's not gonna be able to make those plays.
There's a whole lot of things that Jimmy can do that Deshaun can't. So
absolutely, but I think that I think there's more things that Deshaun can do that Jimmy can't. Jimmy's a lot more limited.
That invalid take. Anyways, continue.
Well, I mean, everything I'm gonna say is that Lemeter's gonna say is an invalid take. But I'm going to say I just think Deshaun Watson's improvisational skills. I think Deshaun Watson's arm is fairly underrated as well. I would say that Deshaun Watson's a very smart quarterback too. You can see that he's become a veteran presence on that team, and he's only the third or fourth year. He's at a point there where if you look back, it's crazy to me that I was watching old NFL clips and stuff like that, and you see guys interviewing and stuff like that, and this quarterbacks if you put him you draft him in the first round, and you have him on the bench for 4 or 5 years and stuff like that, just because you don't trust him yet. The fact of the matter, Deshaun Watson just that short of time has become he's the captain of the team, he's the leader of that team, and he's taking control, and I still think that this year is going to have he might have had a down year last year, but I think this year he'll show off a lot of people that even without DeAndre Hopkins, he's going to make a lot do with Brandon Cooks, David Johnson, and Will Fuller. Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, I think Deshaun Watson is a fantastic quarterback. I mean, but my number one, I have Breezes Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, he might have a better spin move than Deshaun Watson. Let's be real. I mean, take a look at that spin move he had against the Falcons that one year. Fantastic. I'm just kidding. That is not true. Not true at all. Deshaun Watson is definitely a better mobile quarterback than Breeze. But I feel like Breeze, I mean, he has the all-time NFL completion percentage record. He's going to throw complete passes. Of course, Lemeter's going to say he only throws curls and slants. But actually, wait, no, he's not, because Lemeter also has him at number one. Shout out to Lemeter. But
I don't know what he's all over the place this time. I don't know what he's going to, how's he going to bury him out of the hole after he just shat on Breeze and he's going to just bury him out.
I don't know that, but Breeze, I mean, him and Brady, like, this is tough. Like, when I was making this list, when I was making the top 15 list, I'm like, fuck, dude, am I really going to put Brady and Breeze, like, this high on my list? Because, I feel like they're on the decline.
Aaron, you like the classics. I can't blame you, Aaron. You just like the classics, you know what I mean?
I mean, it's that, but it's also, like, my criteria was, like, what I was, like, game managers and, like, what have they done, like, recently. And Breeze had a really good season, and Brady, I mean, I still think he's got something in the tank. I do. But obviously he's not going to be as good as he was. But I'm kind of judging it on what they've done in the past and, like, how good I think they're going to be this year. And that's kind of why I have Breeze and Brady in 1 and 2, in my opinion. All right, Lemeter, take it away.
Yeah, I got Breeze at number one as well. Great quarterback. Absolutely insane. Record-breaking quarterback. And he looks like he's still good. Sometimes
incoming comparison to Jimmy Garoppolo. Why Jimmy's better.
Last year, he went toe-to-toe with Jimmy. Even though Jimmy did beat him, he did go toe-to-toe.
George Kittle beat him.
Well, that's an invalid take. I'd actually – that's an invalid take.
I don't care if you think it's invalid. In my head, it's valid.
Aaron, invalidated too.
I mean, I have the same take as him. I can't really –
Invalid.
Get out of here. Take. Watson, shout out to him. He's a great person. I really like Deshaun as a person and as a player. In fact, I drafted him fantasy this year.
He's got oh my god, this is gonna be the new meme. Lemeter's gonna like just. Can you guys? Who do you not have in fantasy? Who the fuck do you not have in fantasy?
The only quarterbacks I have over my 4 leagues are Jimmy G, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, and Deshaun Watson. 4 quarterbacks.
So 2 good ones and 2 really.
No, 2 good ones and 2 other good ones. Anyways, Deshaun Watson's a great player. I don't mean to hate on him, but like Boaz just overinflates his value too much.
I don't think he is.
Top 8 quarterback. I think I had it.
Yeah.
8. He has potential to be number 1.
I'm not saying Breeze is bad. I'm saying it's close. I'm just saying I would put Deshaun personally. I would put Deshaun over him. I mean, it's
no. I'd even think of Deshaun over Breeze at this point of his career. But
I feel like.
I think Lemeter's coming around. I think the invalidating system. I feel like the Lemeter stamped invalid, and I feel like he's washing it off like a little bit.
I was feeling myself at the start of the episode.
Too much for him to be
up
there.
Really feeling yourself at the start of the episode.
I feel like Deshaun turns the ball over too much for him to be like.
Well, he's a gunslinger, like Jimmy, like Brett. You got to do what you got to do to make them plays. It doesn't matter.
I feel like Jimmy and Brett Favre. I don't know if I.
That's a great comparison.
When Jimmy went on that 5-game
I'm gonna actually say one thing that's impressive that you somehow every single time we've said it, like you somehow bring it back to Jimmy Garoppolo and the NFC West.
That is impressive. That is pretty impressive.
You somehow managed to bring everything back.
Brady can't even hold the candle to his former backup Jimmy. By the way, I didn't bring him up there, but
I mean that's our quarterback list. Lemeter is always feels slighted by Jimmy Garoppolo. Always gonna bring up Jimmy's a good quarterback.
I'm surprised I didn't get shit on. I usually get shit on during these lists.
That's true, and you've missed this. I had to take one for you, Aaron.
That's because Cam Newton and Carson Wentz weren't on this. But next week, you're in for a roller coaster, my friend.
Oh, you guys are gonna hate me next week. I might be the Lemeter of next episode, honestly. Like not take wise.
I mean, I can't wait your explanation for how Cam is number 1. But until that, we'll see.
Let's go.
Peace. NFL football's tomorrow. Let's fucking go.
Let's go.